No, there it goes.
Now it goes. What up? Episode 3, the Hoops Report. Today we're going to do the Washington Wizards. Actually, I'm really excited about this. How about you, Miles?
I'm very excited about this one. I was kind of ready to just take a dump on this team about kind of their off-court antics and picking up Dwight Howard, but I'm very excited about this team.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? I think I heard Bill Simmons call it Dwight Bola.
Yeah.
Because everybody he's gone to has just gone to shit.
Yeah, he's like got the opposite track record as LeBron James, so it's just everywhere he goes, the team loses.
And they were taken 1-1 in consecutive drafts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm no NBA conspirator, but I mean, the chances of LeBron going to Cleveland just in general were just, I don't even, let's talk about the Wizards.
Yeah.
So they signed John Wall recently, like within the last year, to that $141 million. He's their franchise player. He was taken number 1 overall. I think this is the year that will determine John Wall's storyline. He's 28. If he doesn't learn how to play with Bradley Beal, how to make others better to an extent of moving on in the playoffs, I think he's just going to be remembered as a guy who's out of position 2, trying to play the 1. Not as good as what Russell Westbrook, but I think he has more playmaking. He has better defense.
I think he'll be able to be easily forgotten if he doesn't have a great year this year. I mean, it's sad because of how extraordinary he actually is.
You know, we love the NBA. We love the Blazers. As a side note, the fact, okay, I don't think I love Damian Lillard. He made NBA third team last year. Would you really take him over John Wall? When you know all that what John Wall can do for you as a physical specimen.
On an individual level, I would definitely take John Wall over Damian Lillard. I think Damian Lillard, though, is a way better leader overall. He's a way better teammate. And I think he's proven that in the way that he's sort of handled all of the changes in Portland.
And when, you know, this era of the point guard becoming the focal point and really being the franchise player, it's like you can totally tell Lillard's teammates want to be his friend. The 15th guy on the roster, Tim Frazier, wants to be his friend.
Yeah. He has a great deal of respect on the team. And people see him as the leader.
And it's a conscious decision. I like seeing him go throughout his career, and I don't want to make this a Portland pod, but he just has made it a point to be the point guard, the one, the leader, take ownership of the team and set the culture. And I don't know if John Wall is doing, and I don't know if you need to do that to be successful in the NBA. Do you? I don't know. It's cool opinion, that he is, but maybe you don't be.
I think to be a championship contending team, your point guard needs to be your leader. I don't know that there's a situation where it really works out another way. Every single team that LeBron James has been on successfully has had a point guard that was really the leader of the team. And people didn't always see it that way because it's LeBron James, obviously. He is the center point of the team, but he had Dwayne Wade. He had Kyrie Irving. Now he's got
Remember when he went from nobody, he went from Dante Jones to Mo Williams, and they instantly won like 60 games.
Yeah. Everywhere that has a successful franchise has a point guard that is their leader. And teams that are unsuccessful, I think it stems from the point guard not really being the leader. I know that from actual playing experience, where I had teams where we had awesome leadership and a point guard where we really respected him, and other teams that were so unbelievably talented, like these Washington Wizards, but we had nobody that was leading us and nobody that we respected enough to want to like follow him into battle and give the maximum amount of effort. And in the NBA, that's 82 games. That's a lot.
It's a lot. But like you said in the very beginning, and I just talked over you, is the depth of this team is insane. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Jody Meeks is a good player, and he's a minimum guy, biannual exception at 3.5.
Yeah.
Come on, Kelly Oubre.
Jody Meeks is going to be fighting for playing time on this team.
Jody
Because
Meeks is going to make shots, space the floor, and play defense.
Yeah. I love the way that this team is set up, and I think it's all going to hinge on the way that John Wall plays, and he needs to demand respect out of his teammates. And not only that, but dish out the respect. He needs to be the leader of this team and figure out how to make everybody work together. And it's going to take a lot of unselfish play from him, which he might not be used to.
And I think if you remember back to his one season at Kentucky, I feel like he was kind of like a positive focal point for that team. He and DeMarcus coexisted fine. They had Daniel Orton, they had Eric Bledsoe.
I am most impressed with this team in that if you look at all of their stats individually, the player efficiency rating about 8 deep is really solid. Like the guys that they're going to be depending on to come off the bench and be a second unit is, to what I'm looking at, Austin Rivers, Jeff Green, Markieff Morris, maybe Troy Brown.
Oh my gosh.
An Oregon boy.
Troy Brown. We'll get to him.
I'm excited about him. He kind of was up and down yesterday in preseason, and I probably believe in preseason even less than I believe in summer league.
Preseason doesn't matter at all.
I think New Orleans lost, the Lakers lost, Atlanta won.
No, and Troy Brown he's like Jaylen Brown. I mean, really, they have the same build, they have the same athletic ability, and they have the same shot making skills. It's just that
he's 19 years old.
Right. It's just Oregon wasn't deep in the tournament. He clearly can't carry a whole team, but guess what? He doesn't need to. When you're in this modern NBA, when you're trying to switch everything, when you're trying to play up tempo, you need athletic, long 6'7" guys. And Troy Brown is that. He's more skilled than a lot of guys coming out, and he should have been higher than 15.
So let me ask you this. How do they match up, the Washington Wizards, against the elite in the NBA? So mainly their main competition is Boston.
Elite with the East, right? Because we know Philly, we know Boston. Toronto? I mean
Toronto. I think Toronto's got a chance.
How old is Kyle Lowry now? 34? He's in the second year of that ridiculous deal. Is this the time where that value starts to decline, especially when he's
My prediction is that honestly Toronto sort of destructs. I may be wrong. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. But Lowry's had issues with coaches in the past because he's not the most unselfish player. And he had a situation with Dwayne Casey and with DeMar DeRozan and the owner of Toronto. His name is slipping me right now, but
they were clearly all on the same page.
Yeah.
Last, because he wasn't an all-star before, but he was a journeyman. He was valuable. He was on the Houston Rockets when they were a playoff team,
And they made a commitment to him. And now I think that is kind of in jeopardy. But they do have Kawhi, who is definitely out to try to prove something, and they've got Danny Green, who I think he seems pretty happy in Toronto at this time.
But I'm just looking at this Washington team, and I'm just going, oh my God. They can match up with anybody.
Yeah. I don't think, honestly, Toronto can hang with Washington.
I don't think they can. I think Washington's a top 3 seed.
I do too. I think they're top 2. I don't think Philly can hang with them.
Well,
that's my honest opinion.
You're just saying that in the event of an injury, the probability that there's an injury to one of the top 2 Philly guys is so high that you're not going to predict them top 2.
I don't think that what Philly did last year is going to repeat itself this year. I think people kind of took it for granted, and they were so motivated and wow, this is actually working. They were playing with absolutely zero expectation, which is the easiest way to play. This year, they're going to be playing with all of the expectation in the world, which is Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. They're going to have all the pressure in the world now to reproduce what they did last year.
And I think they can. Why? I don't see why they can't. I mean, it's not like Joel Embiid was only good for a year. This was
I just mean I don't think it's going to be quite as easy for them. I think in 82 games, they're going to wear down, and the competition, I think, is going to be way tougher because they're going to have a way bigger target on their back than they did last year, and it's going to be for a full season.
But you have LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers, so their win total will not be as high. So there's going to be some games to be made up. The lower end of the Eastern Conference is just as bad. Those wins will, some of those, okay, say that's a 20 game difference, Cleveland, and, Boston takes, what do you think, they win 63 games? Maybe they up their win.
There, yeah.
They up, so you have 10 to 13 games to be given. And I think Philly can clean house. JJ Redick is still a valuable veteran presence on their league, and they're not even going to start him. Dude, Markelle Fultz is going to start. He's going to have a good season. He's a great prospect.
I think that Philadelphia is going to be a top 3 team in the East. That's not what I'm saying. But I think in a 7-game series against Washington, I don't think Philly can match up. In general, I don't.
Dwight would be the X factor there for sure. He would be stopping.
And Markieff Morris coming off the bench. He can definitely frustrate Embiid. That dude's not afraid of anybody.
Chief Keef. Markieff is real. He should start. I think he should start. It should be John Wall, Brad Beal, Porter, Keefe, Dwight. I don't know. Do you another? When I was looking at this roster to kind of pivot a little bit, I was like thinking about all of the different small ball lineups that they could do.
Yeah. The thing is, they're all so big, long,
Porter, Beal,
and athletic.
Wall, Rivers, Morris, Oubre, Morris, Jeff Green. Jeff Green was so good for the Cavs.
Yeah, he was.
Even if he's 70% of that.
If you look at his stat lines, like through his entire career, it does not do justice to what that guy did for Cleveland.
No, he could just go off for 30 and then the next night have 2, and you go, wow. But he does so many other things well.
He's going to be a worker. And let's get this clear about Dwight Howard. That guy has never averaged less than 10 rebounds a game.
Yep.
I don't think he's averaged less than 11, actually.
I don't think his shoulders shrunk. I think he still can set a screen that would stop a moving train.
So that guy is going to add 17 and 12 for Washington this year on a minimum contract.
Dude, he put up 20, he put up like 30-30 last year, right?
30-30 when everybody started trashing on him and telling him that he was worthless.
30-30.
There's not very many guys in the league that can do that.
His back is already hurt is the only thing that concerns me with Dwight.
Yeah, I saw that. I am a little bit worried about.
Not going to be in training camp.
I would be worried about injury with Washington. Yeah. But their depth, again, is so good. I think they can fill in anywhere. I mean, like Dwight goes down for a game. Who do you have? You've got Morris. Or maybe you go with the small ball lineup and
they still have Ian Mahinmi, and
he's been around the league for a long time too.
He was ostracized by the Blazers. They did not want any of his shit.
I am worried about this team most off the court.
Oh my!
That's why I wouldn't put a whole lot of money on them going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They should. Otto Porter should be an All-Star. Brad Beal should be an All-Star, and John Wall should be. They should have 3 All-Stars. They really should.
Yeah. I mean,
Porter and Beal are on the same contract. Think about that. They're making the same amount of money. 25, 26 this year. Next year, 27, 2020, they're making $28 million and $28 million. They are getting paid the same thing.
They've got so many bird right contracts.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know who has the most in the NBA, but they might be up there. They've got 3.
Right.
That's a lot.
They're still paying for Martell Webster too. Funny.
I saw that. That's an
It's because they
old
waived it. They
for him.
stretched his ass. They waived him and then yeah. Then they stretched him.
Junior's gonna be big for them,
Huh?
but I think Oubre Jr. is big for him. I think want to play this team because they've got a streak of mean that you need. You know, John Wall, Bradley Beal aren't going to take any junk from any of the guards in this league. Oubre Jr.'s already proved that. Morris.
This will be the last Blazers reference I make, but if you remember in the playoffs, they were totally exposed by New Orleans with their defensive backcourt who disrupted the Blazers' entire offense.
Yeah. Yeah, they absolutely got owned. And it was all effort. It wasn't really like a talent level that should have been comparable. Honestly, it was Rondo and
Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was the best player on the floor.
Against Lillard and McCollum. Nobody, including myself, could have called the backcourt from New Orleans outdoing Portland's backcourt.
Exactly. The point is, I think the Wizards can have that same type of impact.
Yeah.
On the Eastern Conference, they can just totally smash through. Maybe not totally smash. They could definitely beat Milwaukee if they put it together.
Oh, yeah.
Even if Giannis is having a LeBron type impact, they just have too many guys to throw at him.
I don't see Giannis as the same caliber player. He's obviously unbelievable. But I think most of that is because the league lets him Euro step like he does. I mean, they say he can go one dribble from half court, but that's a travel. I've watched that video so many times. It's a travel. He travels probably as much as James Harden.
Which is every time.
Every time. James Harden travels a lot. It's not a gather step. There's no such thing as a gather step.
Say the Wizards make the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. Say they make the Eastern Conference Finals. And Boston and Kyrie's out with an injury. Boston has really no playmakers they have individual wings, but they don't have a floor general to do that.
I think the difference would be in the coaching, to be honest. I think Brad Stevenson is much better for Boston, and I'm not quite sure about Scott Brooks for Washington. I like Scott Brooks. He was head coach of the year. He had a 10-year playing career. He was an NBA champion in Houston. The guy's been around the league. The guy's been around the league a long time. He's like 5'11". I think, to my knowledge, he's like the shortest white guy to play in the NBA since like the 50s.
Since Cousy?
Since something like that. Yeah, some guy on Boston who was like 5'8" in 1955. God. I don't remember the name. He won like 10 championships.
What about Jose Barea?
Is he white?
No, he's like Mexican.
Anyway, I think Scott Brooks can be really valuable for that team. He just needs to figure out how to make John Wall the leader.
Yeah.
And I don't think that Boston can get through Washington if Kyrie's out.
Exactly.
If Boston is healthy and they match up against Washington fully healthy, I think it'd be an excellent 7-game series with a lot of fire.
I think Beal
like a lot of really. There'd be a lot of technicals thrown.
Oh,
I can tell you that. Marcus Smart in the backcourt trying to frustrate John Wall and Bradley Beal. Vice versa. I mean,
and how this team picked up Troy Brown, in the way we're talking about them, they won't get a first round pick for a while that will produce very much, but they still, Otto Porter's still relatively young. Brad Beal's only 25.
Oh yeah,
they're still young.
Yeah, they are.
But it feels like this is the year they have to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's like Toronto last year.
Yeah,
Toronto had a chance.
Toronto maybe 2 years ago. I feel like Toronto last year, that everybody knew that they were gonna. Well, maybe
They gave him another chance, though. And they were the number 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, okay. If the Wizards are the number 1 seed in the East, I think Scott Brooks is going to get another year.
Yeah.
Maybe not the same level, but yeah, maybe. It's actually that's a good comp. DeMar DeRozan, he was getting up there for Toronto. Washington, now you got John Wall. I don't think there's a possibility that Washington would trade John Wall, though. I don't think so.
No. They just signed him to a supermax. No. They're going to empty out everybody else around him. He's definitely their franchise guy, unless he demands out.
And he's not.
I don't think he will, no. Not for $45 million a year.
Jeff Green, Georgetown guy. Otto Porter, Georgetown guy.
They've got workers that are willing to bleed for this team.
Underrated, Jason Smith. I think, you need bigs.
I was looking at him too.
He can shoot a little bit. Jason Smith setting screens. He'll stop you.
He's been in the league a long time. He's got like a 10-year career.
We haven't mentioned the backup point guard that will be contributing a lot. Austin Rivers. He's going to be the backup point guard.
I was a hater on Austin Rivers.
Oh, you were the biggest Austin Rivers hater.
Yeah. I thought he was in the league because of his dad.
He was for a while.
He's proved himself, and he's found that area in the NBA where he's incredibly valuable, and that's as a sixth man. I think he can be sixth man of the year this year.
Wow.
Potentially. I'm not calling that, but I think he could be.
I mean,
I think he's kind of like a Jamal Crawford, and I think he learned a lot from Jamal Crawford playing with him. And that guy was 2-time sixth man of the year.
That's a really good point.
And he was big for him last night, preseason. Like I said, I'm not a huge believer in the preseason. I think it's kind of
he will be the backup point guard. He'll be doing
he's going to be a huge role. And he'll be able to it'll be interesting how they decide to play it, because if they want to give him a full second unit, so if they run Austin Rivers and Dwight Howard together, or if they're just going to weave Austin Rivers into the starting lineup and say replace Wall with Austin Rivers, give them a breather and kind of offset their lineups like that and try and be in constant attack mode, because that's what they're capable of in the backcourt.
Austin Rivers can play make for others. He can get to the rim. And he's long enough to defend other ones.
Yeah. He's definitely going to put in the effort.
When he was coming out, I don't think you could have said that he was a true one. He was definitely more of a 2 at Duke, for sure.
I didn't think he was going to last in the NBA.
No, you didn't. I remember
I didn't
in college.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching the Clippers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Being like, they're going to lose this game because Austin Rivers is playing.
What a disaster he was in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah. I think he's honestly found a role, though, where he's going to be comfortable, because they're not going to be looking to him to necessarily be the guy, but he is going to get his moment.
And he knows when he gets the ball, he knows what to do with it.
He's going to have the green light for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's confident enough to knock down those shots that he needs to hit. I'm interested to see what Dwight Howard really produces. It's not going to be a matter of whether
let's think about it. Let's think about it this way. In terms of value, what was Dwight Howard making last year? 12 million, 18 million? What, do you know?
I think it was 12.
Okay, he's making 5 now. If you cut Dwight Howard's production in half, which is, his value, I'm saying, you think he's going to make I think he's going to make an impact.
He's going to earn his paycheck, if that's what you're asking.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
In so many words.
I think that they paid him the minimum to put up 17 and 12, which if they give him the minutes, that's exactly what he's going to do. Whether he's truly
But I don't think that's a minimum player. I think that's like...
Oh, absolutely not. No, that's a bargain.
Is DeAndre Jordan going to do that for Dallas?
He could do 12 rebounds. I don't know.
Even if Dwight's
I would
11 and
probably
11
I would probably rather have Dwight Howard than DeAndre Jordan.
for how
And
much
for
DeAndre Jordan's
price?
making for the price.
He's making like $22 million a year over there in Dallas, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Or I
4
guess
years.
he's is he still on the 4 year? I couldn't remember what his
They
contract.
just signed him this summer.
To 4 years? I thought it was 1 year.
DeAndre?
Yeah. I'll have to look it up again. Doesn't matter.
Anyways,
Either way, he's making like 4 times as much as Howard's getting paid this year, and I think they'll have the same production.
injuries are a concern with Dwight. That's for sure. And if he's out, gosh, they really
On a minimum salary, I would honestly, my focus for Dwight Howard would be the playoffs.
right.
And that's what I would make really clear to him, is that they need him to have really solid chemistry with this team. And that means a lot of off the court stuff. He can't be all on his own and expect to have some kind of chemistry with his teammates. I mean,
But like this is
you
it.
got to make a
right?
huge effort.
He knows this is it. I mean, where do you go after this? Brooklyn? I don't like. This
I
is
don't know,
their.
back to
He went from Orlando to Los Angeles to Houston to
Atlanta. Yeah.
to Charlotte to Washington. It's a lot of
Yeah.
games.
All unsuccessful. Very unsuccessful. I think his career will also be – that's what I kind of like about this team, is that they're going to be really defined by this year. And there's a lot of young players that are kind of put into that category, maybe unfairly, but still in the category nonetheless. Because I think they'll go down as an unsuccessful team with guys at the helm of it. So if Washington is unsuccessful, it'll definitely be on John Wall. But it'll also blow back on Dwight Howard for sure.
Oh,
And then it's going to
Scott
call
Brooks.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. He'll be the first one to go.
Yeah.
That's the first to go every single time. Look at Toronto. Dwayne Casey was the very first one to go. Golden
Kelly,
State, even when they went down, they got rid of Mark Jackson.
this is a free agent year for Kelly Oubre.
Yeah. So they need to produce to keep him.
Well, if he wants to earn that next, that mid-year or that mid-level contract,
And that's true. He needs
inching towards that elite status. He's got to take that step. He's got to be a fringe all-star in the East. Maybe like you said, maybe he surpasses Austin Rivers as the first guy off the bench. How can you not see that from Kelly Oubre?
Oh, definitely. And
he's not scared. He will shoulder
No.
clip someone in the playoffs.
Yeah. And that's what I like about this team. I have a lot of confidence in the way that I think their attitude and playing style is going to be able to translate into the playoffs. I think it's going to be similar to the Lakers in that they've got a lot of workers and a lot of depth.
And they want to go
And
fast.
overall
When
talent.
when you have that kind of depth, you can go fast.
Oh, yeah, their ability to go that fast, too. And I think the only hindrance to that would be Dwight Howard. He does not like to play fast.
No. But if
Which
you go
is why
small,
he's
you don't have to worry
working-
about it.
Yeah.
Which
So
you
if
could
they
totally
need
easily
to go
small.
big, yeah. But that having Dwight Howard defensively, he's still going to be a presence around the rim. Obviously, Morris is going to be a presence. They have a lot of guys that love to block shots. Even John Wall. John Wall will go upstairs and send one into the stands.
And I hate to say it, but what if Gordon Hayward's not the same? What if Jaylen Brown hit his ceiling? I think Tatum is going to be, he's going to be great. He's going to be amazing. But he's the only for sure. Kyrie, injury history. Hayward, injury history. Brown,
I would
could have been a sophomore peak.
even last year with their injuries, there's no way I'd put anybody else into the Eastern Conference Finals except for Boston and somebody else. I think it's going to be Boston and somebody else.
For
And I
sure.
think that the rankings in the East are going to be really important because Washington does not want to catch Boston in a second or a first round.
No. And, whenever we do Milwaukee, dude, they have the same amount of, but I don't think they will.
I was disappointed with Giannis in the playoffs. He was really passive. Like he didn't know that he was the center point, like he was supposed to lead his team.
Yeah.
He passed the ball a lot. And he passed it like after he got to the rim. Like you're 6'11", just jump off the ground and dunk it. That's what he should do every single time. He should just take off from the free throw line and try and dunk on people.
Oh, he will, for sure.
Like Euro step it from half court and then jump from the free throw line.
Oh man, yeah. And you got Toronto up there. Indiana, maybe?
I think it's going to be Washington and Boston.
Washington.
That's my hope. That's my hope. Because the way that they match up is really exciting. If we don't get it,
because you have the Morris twins that just offset each other.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you think about having Al Horford, Gordon Hayward, with Dwight Howard, Oubre. I mean, the matchups are awesome, and then you got the backcourts of John Wall and Kyrie Irving,
Beal and Tatum.
Yeah. I mean, those matchups all by themselves would make for a good series. But to have all those guys on the court at the same time.
It's just chemistry.
Yeah. And then to have, I think it would be most interesting to see the coaching differences between Brad Stevens and Scott Brooks. And I don't know who's better. I would tend to say Brad Stevens, but I like the fact that Scott Brooks has the NBA playing experience. He's got a lot of playoff experience as a coach and as a player. He's been around the league for 20-something years. Long time. 25 years.
So
I think
how many wins? I think I'm feeling 55, 57 is what I'm feeling. I think it might happen.
I would definitely say they're a 50-win team. I think they're going to have rough patches, injuries. I'd call them a 53-win team, probably.
53.
I think they're going to disappoint me a little bit in where they rank, and we're probably going to get like a Boston-Washington second round or something like that.
This might be the best Washington team that I've ever seen watching.
Yeah.
Might be better than Gilbert Arenas.
I think it's probably the best team I've ever seen compiled where nobody was really giving them the benefit, or nobody was really thinking they were contenders.
Yeah. Under the radar.
I haven't really seen anybody go, yeah, Washington, they're dangerous in the East. They go, Washington's now got Dwight Howard. And we know how he works. So Washington's not a playoff team anymore. I'm excited about it. I mean, it's the first time since.
It's not like Atlanta and Charlotte were playoff teams before they got him.
Right, but the kind of impact that he's capable of having, he should be able to take them to a playoffs. I mean, back when he was in Orlando, it was really Dwight Howard versus LeBron James in the East.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's what it was.
The NBA really changed that much in 10 years?
It's crazy. The NBA has changed a lot in 4 years.
That's true.
I think it's going to start to settle down a little bit after this next free agency. I think we're going to have another really exciting summer next summer.
Next summer is the summer. New York and Los Angeles both have cap space.
They're making big moves. And there's a lot of really cool free agents. Kevin Durant, Kawhi. That'll be interesting to see what he does. I bet he re-signs with Toronto, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Kyrie is going to re-sign with Boston. He'd be dumb not to.
Yeah.
Something catastrophic would have to happen in Boston for that to... I don't know. They have to get, swept by Milwaukee.
Okay, so I want to end on this. and it really upset me when I heard it. The NBA conspiracy. I'm not saying this is true. It's not. Definitely not true. Is LeBron on steroids or HGH?
I think he's on a lot of supplements.
Think about
I
when
think he's on a lot of.
when LeBron moved to Miami. Think about how big he got. He's 280. Easy.
He's an enigma.
He's never been injured.
Yeah. He spends
In 2014, the NBA. This is why the theory said in 2014 the NBA was cracking down on their HGH testing, so LeBron had to go into fasting to lose all traces of anything. That's why he actually went back down to legit 250. If you've ever seen those Cleveland pictures, he's like rail thin for LeBron.
Yeah.
And then even hair loss symptom. LeBron this year, Cavs were doing not good in January until LeBron goes into a little vacation in Miami. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's on a lot of supplements. I think some of them may be illegal, but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
I think he's ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
In his trainers that he has.
He's on something.
I wouldn't be surprised if it came out tomorrow that like he tested positive for something like that. Like if you see a guy like that, you're never going to be surprised. But
like even Peyton Manning's wife was picking up his. Peyton Manning's wife was on HGH.
I don't know. I thought so at one point, but I also want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he's
for sure
actually doing really good things for basketball, and he's really trying to be the example for the NBA. I have a great deal of respect for him, and I didn't always have that.
When he went to Miami, you were pissed.
Yeah, I was really pissed.
The writing was on the wall.
The way that he handled it was pitiful. Sickening.
So funny because we were going to college at the time, so it was like a college-like announcement. So I totally thought it was fine. Oh, he just wants. He never got to go to college, so he wants to say where I'm gonna go here.
Yeah, I think Cleveland found out while he was announcing it.
Yeah.
Like he went to Miami and made the announcement on national TV, and Cleveland was like, "Whoa." Awful. And so I thought he was like the most immature, and I thought it was a horrible decision. His decision to go back to Cleveland was interesting. Probably the best thing he could have done for his career, to be honest.
Yeah.
And he could have stayed in Miami.
After the first year, when you weren't going to win 8 in a row, it's like, fuck.
They lost to Dallas.
To Jason Terry?
A lot of people lost to Dallas, actually.
That's true. Dobbs was legit that year.
What were they? They were like a 5th seed or something. 6th seed?
No.
I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up. I'm pretty sure that
they were good that year.
They won a championship.
They were like a 3. Well, shit, yeah. They were a 3 seed. They had Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd when he was 48 years old. Let me see. Hold on. 2011 was it? Is that when they won?
Yeah.
So
or 2014? No, 2011. If you're still watching, we love you.
Yeah. Well, if we got a little bit of dead air, we might have got distracted.
No worries. I'm keeping it alive right now. So, Miles, actually, I'm curious. Are you in Phoenix right now?
I'm in Phoenix right now. I got back from Detroit this morning.
God.
I'm a little bit jet lagged. It's technically like 8:30 my time. but it's actually 5:30 in Phoenix. So trying to get back on that schedule.
On a day schedule.
I went by a cool. So I have one thing that's unrelated to basketball and another thing that is related to basketball. So,
oh, you're cutting out.
Really?
Yeah.
So Gran Torino was filmed in Highland Park. Can you hear me?
Gran Torino was filmed in Highland Park. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. So we went by the house where Gran Torino was filmed. That's kind of cool. We got to drive around the neighborhood and see that.
For sure.
And then we went by St. Cecilia, which is a really famous gym. If you didn't know, I don't think you knew.
Yeah, you told me. I did not know when you texted me that.
Yeah, it's kind of a really specific thing. I'm a huge Jalen Rose fan, so that's the only reason that I knew about it was I knew he grew up with St. Cecilia Gym.
I love Jalen Rose.
Yeah, he's my favorite, man. He's like the perfect.
He's just a pure basketball player.
Yeah, he's like the perfect example of what an average, really good NBA player is, because he was never really. He wasn't LeBron James.
But he got paid.
He got paid, and he guarded people like Kobe Bryant in the playoffs. And he had the honor of being scored on by Kobe.
And he was great. He was good. He was valuable. He was a starter.
Oh, yeah. Through his whole career, that's what I love. It's high school, he was the man. Everybody talked about Jalen Rose when he was in high school.
He was like Lamar Odom.
Yeah, he went to Michigan, which at the time, I mean, that's a whole story by itself. His career would have been defined if he never went to the NBA.
Oh, yeah. He could have just been a Michigan. He's the member of the Fab Five.
Fab Five. I can't even tell you how influential they've been on basketball as a whole. People are still wearing baggy shorts and high socks because
baggy
of people
shorts
like
is actually starting to go out.
They are starting to go away. It's starting to become the short shorts with the tights underneath, which I like the look, I'll be honest.
Hey, we're runners. That's how we do it.
But, yeah, Jalen Rose, I love Jalen Rose.
He played in this Cecilia basketball?
So St. Cecilia Gym, yeah, he was like raised around there. So it was developed in 1960 or built in 1967 after the Detroit riots, which were right around Highland Park, and they were under like state of emergency. They had military in the streets. It was quite legitimately a war zone in that area. And so they built this gym, something Washington. I forgot the name. I know Washington is the last name. I remember seeing it. But he built a gym for like the youth to be able to have an escape from the streets. And so Magic Johnson played there, Isaiah Thomas. Pretty much everybody influential that came out of Detroit played at St. Cecilia. And Jalen Rose, Chris Webber. This is really awesome. There's a huge amount of history there. I thought that it closed, to be honest, because when we drove by, it looked closed. Like we definitely didn't want to be there. And the neighborhood's definitely rough. I'll vouch for that. If you ever hear Jalen Rose, no, I thought it was closed. I wish I would have tried the door. Because I looked it up afterwards and they redid the floor and everything in like 2016.
Ooh.
So it's like a brand new gym now with all the old bones.
That's awesome.
Really cool. Yeah.
My dad, when we were growing up, my dad almost bought a gym. Like he almost bought a school that had a gym.
Really?
And it was in the middle of town. It was like this really random like elementary school that had like a full gym. But it was on a hill, and like just a couple years ago, there was this huge landslide, and the school just got taken out.
Oh, dang.
So it's good that he didn't buy it. But how dope would it have been to have a gym growing up, like an actual gym?
That would have been awesome. That was like my dream.
Well, I think
outside in the snow.
We're done. I think we've ran out of content for the day.
Yeah.
Pretty good length of time.
Dallas was a 3 seed.
Dallas was a 3 seed.
Portland was the 6 seed. That's why I remembered that.
That's right. That's right. So who should we do next, Miles? What do you think? Should we go back west? Let's go back west. Let's do the Clippers.
Okay, yeah, they're bad enough.
NBA preview Clipper Town. Jerry West, the logo. Not Blake Griffin, sadly.
Detroit would be an interesting one too.
Okay, let's do Detroit. We were just talking about Michigan. Let's do Detroit instead. Then we'll do Clippers. It might be a 2-for-1. Huh?
I had a good talk with the guy at Avis. He said he would trade Blake Griffin for Damian Lillard. Would you take it?
No. What are you, crazy?
Yeah, that's what I said.
This man sounds like a peon. Why would you ever talk to someone who would even suggest this? All right, that's the Hoop Report, episode 3. Later.